Okay, hold on. While I'm hold on, let me send this to the damn group while we're talking about it. But all right, so before we get into this, as people are slowly tuning in, me and GB were just arguing about if Hercule's Satan is about that life. What's the chat's opinion on this? GB thinks he had to fall back. There was no option. GB, give your case for Hercule.
Yo, Hercule is like really the champion of martial arts on the planet. Like, niggas started blowing up moons and shit. He had to fall back. He had to act he acted accordingly. He acted accordingly. He's out here spin kicks. Niggas is blowing up the moon with Kamehamehas. Like, what do you want him to do?
Oh no.
Hell no. He pulled up to the Cell game and said, "Hey, I heard y'all were holding a tournament." Realized that was not his weight class.
He said, "Hold up, we doing some taekwondo?" I saw someone get turned into fucking candy. He said, "All right, y'all really tried to get me in this Temu special of a class."
he was out there shadow boxing on Cell, and Cell just blew up a mountain in the distance. He said, "Oh, hold on." I showed up to a Michael Bay movie with karate chops. Like, hold on, let me get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
Real shit.
That. Let me go ahead and post my Cash App, pin the message. All right, so I'm gonna put this goal. Hold on. Let me set the goal real quick, and then we'll get right into the tier list. Anything you want to say about the tier list before we get into about these characters? Oh, let them know the rules we kind of laid out, because we did set a limit per verse and stuff.
All right, so we stuck to 3 characters per verse. Because some of these characters can be perverse. Bars. So if you want, we could really if it really pops off, we could really just go into like each verse and do a tier list for like each verse. Like you want a most violent and Marvel tier list, you know what I'm saying? Run up the likes type shit. But we just the list is already big and these streams drag on. We not trying to be here for 5 hours talking about dudes cutting each other up. Like, y'all get the gist of it. So we stuck to like 3 per verse. We got a little bit of Baki. We got a little bit of Marvel. We got a little bit of MK, obviously. We really just got one person from Street Fighter, because Street Fighter, they fight, but nobody's really violent like that in Street Fighter. You know what I mean? Like, except for Akuma. So. Real. Yeah, we kept it simple. Doom Guy's balls are in here somewhere.
All right, I'm setting the goal for the audience.
750,000 likes. True.
10 likes, 10 super chats, all the colors. We're gonna set the timer at an hour. Share how celebrate DC tier list. All right, you sluts. It's about to get real. We'll also answer questions as we go. All right. So I'm gonna be real with you, GB. Off rip. I'm struggling with this first one because I don't know if I can identify it. I can only see his chest and balls. I don't have my glasses on.
Who is that? Is that Hogan? Who is that?
Hold on, let me double check. Is that my boy, Big Hoke? Hold on.
That doesn't look like Kingdom Hearts, but Hogan did dress like that. Tight shit.
I don't know who that is. Damn.
No. Hogan is under Midnighter. Who is that?
I might have to go back.
Is that the dude? Is that old boy from Fist of the North Star? Did he get randomly thrown in the list?
Are we getting boned immediately by our own list? Hold on. Is that Violence Jack?
It could be Violence Jack.
Is the second
Assuming that,
character Kira Ryan?
yeah. I guess that's Violence Jack.
Yeah, that's Violence Jack. I have the order. I sent it to him. Looks like he missed
Alright.
Doomslayer, but that's okay. Yeah, I'll DM him to add Doomslayer.
Nah, Doomslayer's in there. He's
Oh,
right
he
there.
got it. He got it. Okay. So he must have went back and added it. All right, so I think that's Violence Jack.
Yeah. We
Alright.
we could put Violence Jack at S tier.
You think so? Give them a brief
Yeah.
explanation on why you have Violence Jack in the S tier.
A woman offered him ass, and he said no and cut her in half with a regular ass, like
He said-
4-inch blade.
He said no, thank you too.
You know that he just cut her in half.
He said, "Fuck that bitch."
That's all you need to know about Violence Jack. I mean, his name is literally Violence. If you type in violence on Google, Violence Jack comes up. Like, you don't need nothing else.
Oh, and just to let you guys know, BB and I, when we went into making this list, we literally went by the definition of violence. Because our immediate question was, like, how do we define the violence? And we ultimately just went with the definition, which is, the act of inflicting harm upon something else. So, that's how we made this list. Violence Jack is no fucking exception. If y'all haven't read or seen Violence Jack and you just like crazy shit, look into it in terms of manga and anime. Like, this was one of those times, like, GB I usually go to for random anime or manga, and he put me onto this shit, and this shit was so funny to me because it was so appalling how wild he was and the climate in general. Devilman, who's he's like uncomfortable to read at times, saw Violence Jack and was like, oh shit, that's a motherfucker right there. So yeah, S tier I think is fair.
Type shit.
Kira Ryan.
I think Kira.
Yeah, I think Kira. Kira nearly got a boner when the island got invaded. He was like, "Oh, we get to just go senselessly murder people and not get in trouble for it." Bet. Like, he'll enter a martial arts tournament, but if he doesn't like you, he's just gonna kill you. He doesn't give a fuck about the rules. Rips people apart. Has hundreds of techniques to torture, maim, and kill people. Does it all the time. His clan's literally bred for peak violence. They're the best at that shit. So, I definitely say Kira Ryan deserves that S tier as well. He's about as violent as it gets. Oh, this is a tough one, GB. I'm gonna let you weigh in on this before I do.
Riccio literally punched a dude's guts out and ripped his intestines out with his fist, so I'm just gonna put him in S tier. That's pretty violent. It's
a cult classic strictly for his violent nature.
There's gonna be a lot of S tiers on here.
Yeah, eventually maybe we'll see people fall or ascend based on how others fit in, but pretty violent list. Battle Beast. Battle Beast is definitely violent as shit, man. I think he might be our first A tier. Although
he's not on that, like, he's not like Kira Ryan, Violence Jack, Riccio type beat, but he's definitely up there.
Here's where it kind of hurts him. He does shit like, oh, I'm gonna nerf myself, so this is a great fight. The others are just sick with it. They're sliding on you.
Yeah. Nemesis is definitely S tier. He's Batman with no morals.
I would say grander scale. I would say he's on a grander scale than Violence Jack. Right? Violence Jack hasn't fucked as many people up as Nemesis, I don't think. Just in terms of the sheer crimes Nemesis does, I would say right now he's in the leadership for violence. But yeah, GB put me on the Nemesis, I want to say like 6 months ago. Absolutely diabolical character. All he does is fuck shit and violence. So definitely think he's S tier. Would you, sincere question, would you say he's more violent or chaotic?
I mean,
Oh
he's
wait,
definitely
nah,
both.
he locked himself with like 6 dozen agents and just started beating the fuck out of them. Never mind. That boy's a problem.
I'd say Punisher's a solid A tier.
What do you think? Okay, first of all, do you think he's above Battle Beast or below?
And I don't think he's that violent, to be honest. Because Battle Beast really like Battle Beast will just like Punisher won't take out somebody who's not a part of his program, like a part of his mission. Battle Beast beat the shit out of Mark for no like I don't even remember what Mark did. I don't even remember what Mark did to him, but he just beat the shit out of Mark. And he left him alive, but he almost like crippled him. Like it was horrible. So Punisher doesn't do things like that. Matter of fact, you could probably put Punisher in B tier because like I think A tier should be like for Battle Beast type people.
I think if this was Punisher Max, it'd be A tier, but it's not. 616 toned down a little bit, which is crazy because he's already wild. And this is the part in the video where we tell you guys everybody on here is violent. This is relative to one another. That's all. Like literally the lowest tier, I called it violent. So everybody's about it on this list. It's just relative to each other. Also, I see people commenting, where's these characters? For one, if you donate to the goal we put up, you could just comment a character and we'll tell you where we think they fit in. But if you guys smash the like button, donate, and show a lot of love to this, we'll do a part 2 with characters y'all suggest and other characters. We're also down to do like specific universes, since a lot of universes have plenty of violent characters. Like Mortal Kombat could have their own video easily. So, definitely keep that in mind, guys, for those commenting. But next up is Midnighter. I'm gonna say Midnighter's at least A tier. I think he's worse than Punisher. I'm gonna make my case with a few things. One, he impressed the shit out of DC's Hell with his violence. They're like, oh my god, he could be a Hell Lord here if we wanted him to. He got revenge on someone that assaulted his boyfriend by sodomizing them with a jackhammer. He makes Batman uncomfortable with his violence. There's like plenty of things that I think gives Midnighter at least A tier. Do you have any? Do you agree with me? He's above Punisher in violence.
Probably. I mean, I don't really get into Midnighter too much, so.
All right. Well, fair enough. I don't know if he's above Battle. I wouldn't say he's above Battle Beast, but he's A tier for sure. Next up, Sabertooth. You're a big Sabertooth guy. I'll let you lead off.
Sabertooth definitely has to be in S tier. He corrupted Krakoa with his just nonstop, like his violent mind, like his mindscape corrupted Krakoa just off of sheer violence. He killed Wolverine's wife out like for a birthday gift. Has been beating Wolverine up ever since that day happened, and he's been doing it for like 200 plus years. He assembled a team of Sabertooths from across the multiverse and slaughtered a bunch of mutants on Krakoa. He ripped Wolverine apart and dampened his healing factor and forced Wolverine to crawl on all fours. He's definitely like hyper violent. Like, so I'd put him in S tier.
What about relative to the others in S tier?
I'd say he's above Ricky O and Ryan probably. just because we've seen him go far. He might honestly, he might be. He's probably above Violence Jack too. I don't know if he's above Nemesis. He's
I
probably
would
just
have.
neck and neck to Nemesis.
I think with his latest story, with the multiverse shit and the Krakoa incident, I think he's currently number one.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
He literally showed, like, when he gets the means to, he just increases the scope of the violence. Like, I think the sheer amount of violence he's inflicted actually usurps all four of these characters combined right now. Same tier, but just his body of work's insane, you know?
Yeah.
Like, did you blow up a car or did you blow up a city type shit? This man created his own hell and has gone on multiversal genocides. So, however, he's immediately, and I say this with emphasis, immediately getting usurped. I have Pinhead as currently the GOAT. Even the most fodder of Cenobites within the Hellraiser mythos, whether movies, books, or comics, even the lowliest of them live in the realm of pain and violence. And their currency is inflicting pain, violence, and chaos. So the reason that's important is Pinhead is the pinnacle of that. He's the very peak of what that could possibly be. He's tortured characters on literal extra dimensional levels. That's what he strictly lives for, is inflicting violence across everything. Literally keeps universes and creation alive to inflict pain and chaos and violence. I think characters, I'll say this is the first time we have some controversy. Let's have some fun with this one. I think Pinhead is of such an absurd nature that he might define S tier right now, and these five might be A tier. These two might be B tier. Punisher might be C tier. Thoughts?
I don't really, I don't know. Like, I get that Pinhead's violent and stuff, but it's like what he was designed to be, and like you can become that. Like like as we've seen, like the later movies, you can actually become a Cenobite and like do what he does.
Huh.
But there's people that are just as violent and have created violence on a larger scale than Pinhead, and they're not what he is. Like, they're not a Cenobite. So like for example, like I said, Sabertooth and Nemesis, like these guys are like, Pinhead usually tortures several people at a time, and it's if he gets released. Sabertooth and Nemesis are out all the time. Like, there is no safe haven from these people. I would hate to live. Like, you can. It's like a weird stipulation, but the way I think about it is, you can avoid Pinhead as long as you don't mess with that stupid ass box. If Saber, like, I could never imagine being Wolverine. I would never want to be Wolverine. I have 365 days until Sabertooth beats my ass eventually.
All right. To counter that about Pinhead in the mythos, the multiverse is like infinite, and lament configuration boxes are everywhere. So Pinhead's pretty much always out in the field. On top of that, he's commanding the legions of Cenobite that are constantly engaged across time and space. I get so here's where I think we meet in the middle, right? If all things are equalized, are they the same violence wise? I think that's the best way we look at it. If I equal Sabertooth with the powers and the abilities of a Pinhead, does he inflict as much violence? That's my question.
Oh no,
it's not a trick question. I think he does.
If Sabertooth could, like, if Sabertooth had access to the multiverse, outside of like when he encountered like a bunch of multiverse versions of himself, if Sabertooth had access to the multiverse and he could just pop up everywhere whenever he wanted, he'd honestly be more. There wouldn't be anything left of the multiverse. Like, he'd just rip everything apart. Like Sabertooth throughout like his classic runs was literally just running around ripping up civilians for no reason. And like Spider-Man, Daredevil, Hawkeye, it like their mission was just to try to stop Sabertooth from killing people. Sabertooth actually killed somebody while fighting Spider-Man. He like ripped their throat out. So I don't like if he could just be everywhere like this like Pinhead. I don't know. Like I just don't think he'd. I don't think there'd be much left of the world at that point.
It's fair. I'd agree with him with Sabertooth for that part. What about Nemesis?
No, because Nemesis needs to be the villain. Like he needs somebody to. He needs to be the antagonist to somebody, even though he's the protagonist of his story.
Yeah, I
he's
get
generally like the villain. So he needs a force. He wouldn't just eliminate all opposing force. He'd be. I think he'd be Pinhead level, but I don't think he'd be Sabertooth level. Because Sabertooth is perfectly fine living on his own. He doesn't care. So
Pinhead's the same as Sabertooth. I'd say they're at least the same tier. So we might have Nemesis moving down. Violence Jack. Violence Jack's a weird one because in some ways he will leave you alone. Like that one girl, he didn't kill her because she was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like if you want to like if you really want to move them down, you can just move from like Nemesis to Riki-Oh all the way down then.
Riki-Oh's a weird one though. Do you think Riki-Oh would inflict violence everywhere?
No.
No?
No, he's a hero. He's just a violent hero.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with that. Okay, yeah, I think this list just got a little more interesting. By the way, guys, if you want to see who's the strongest in DC tier list, hit the goal for the super chats. Hit that goal, baby. Next up, Jigsaw.
Jigsaw's definitely S tier because if Jigsaw had those capabilities, he would definitely be. Jigsaw is he low key like if you take away the aspect of like the multiverse comic book shit for Pinhead and you just look at the movies, Jigsaw puts in way more work with way less power. Like he's crazy. And you could just randomly end up in a Jigsaw trap. Like, you don't even have to mess with a toy.
You could be like, hey, remember when you
just, like,
accidentally...
fall asleep at lunch.
It'd be like, you remember when you accidentally left with 2 pineapples at the market and you didn't even pay for them? Well, a starving family could have used those pineapples and they ended up dying. So now you find yourself with a fishbowl on your head and knives in your ass. Like, he's that kind of... It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so now you have a key inside your eyeball, and you have to rip your own eyeball out to undo the fucking clamps that's gonna crush your head in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, he's OD. He was literally dying of cancer, still doing that shit. Like making sure violence was inflicted upon those that needed it. All right, Leatherface. You lead off.
Leatherface is like probably B tier.
What do you think limits him on this violence tier list?
Who do I think what?
What do you think limits him? So Leatherface, all he does is technically kill people. That's kind of what he's known for since the 70s. What do you think limits him on this list?
He doesn't leave his farm.
He said his ambitions of violence sucks.
Yeah, like he's not actively trying to fuck people up. People just go into that stupid ass house and like they ignore every single red flag. And sometimes they'll interact with Leatherface before he starts actually killing people, and they just see this big 7-foot something doofus running around with a weird face and they think he's not capable of killing people. So I mean, like he's like super limited. Like yeah, it's hard to
You
just put him in
low key,
violent.
yeah, you low key just made a case for him being in the violent tier, and that's no disrespect to him, but it is kind of There's really, to me, only been one super aggressive Leatherface, and that was in the recent remake where he like hopped on that bus and went on a slaughter spree. But that's about the only time like he was ever really wilding like that, in my opinion. Chucky.
Yeah, yeah.
Chucky.
Chucky's S tier. Like that's not even Chucky. First of all, he has like this man in the show fragmented his soul across like I don't know thousands and thousands of good guy dolls, and then shipped them all across America to like random kids' houses. And he's been torturing and like traumatizing all of America ever since. Like Chucky, with the resource, he has the ambition and the violent nature to try to take over the planet and kill everybody. And he literally likes to kill because he finds it amusing.
I think another thing with Chucky too is like no one's safe from beefing with him. There's no child too small. There's
he was
no
buying
women.
a car one time in the show, like when he was like Charles. He was buying a car, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, it's like a red candy paint on the outside, but the inside is like white leather." And Charles was like, "Oh, I think the inside could use a little bit more red." And he just slits the guy's throat in public, and just let his blood spray all over the white seats. And then he sat in it, like he's unhinged. Like he's genuinely unhinged. So it's like you just wouldn't want to. Like me personally, I would rate these in like universes where I just wouldn't want to live in these universes with these people because they're like they could reach you no matter who you are. They could reach you no matter what you're doing. Bro, Chucky was killing homeless people in New York. Or was it? No, it was Chicago, I think. He was killing homeless people in Chicago. Like nobody's safe.
I'm gonna move Ricky O down to the captain of B tier. I think Ryan and them are on a different tier than him. I agree with you on Chucky. I think if we kind of go by that standard of, hey, if they all had the equal means to create violence, Chucky's probably the go-to that shit. So, yeah, I agree with that. Next is Art the Clown from the Terrifier series. I'll lead off with this one. Regardless of how you feel about the movies, like I'm not a fan of this series because it's kind of, to me, I take it the same way I took the Boys comic book series, and that it's just glorified torture and gore. That's it. It's shock value. So it doesn't do much for me. But in terms of what violence is, that's all Art is. So I think Art's easily S tier.
Yeah, Art's unfortunately, this is an unfortunate case where Art knows ball. I'm never gonna rep this series. Series sucks, but yeah, I mean he's just like if you gave him enough resources, there would be nothing left of the world. So
yeah, he's ridiculous. That's all he does. So yeah, he's up there regardless of how you feel about him. Next character. Candyman.
Gonna get racial tension. A little bit of racial tension.
First of all, rest in peace to Tony. One of the most iconic voices in Hollywood ever. Recently passed away. Candyman is one of my favorite horror movies ever. In terms of violence, this is interesting because obviously that's all he does. But at the same time, Candyman, it's targeted. It's literally a neighborhood. I kind of have to punish him like I punish Leatherface.
Yeah, the block is hot for sure.
Literally, the block's hot. Like that entire block was fucked.
For those limitations, honestly, we could put Reacher and John Wick both in violent tier because if you don't mess with them, you're good.
Oh yeah, Reacher is not going to bother you at all.
Yeah, and as long as you're not killing John Wick's dog, you're fine.
Here's why that doesn't apply to like Punisher type characters. Before we get those comments, like one Blood Elf or Dark Elf, whatever, showed up on the block. He was like hopping dimensions, eradicating them all. Okay, you might get your whole bloodline erased fucking with Punisher.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. If Okoye is an easy A tier, he could pop. Okoye, if he had the resources, would be an S tier because he thinks everything is like crime. Like Okoye would kill people that are jaywalking. Like if he knew about it. Like
give a little more just a brief explanation of his moral. Do you think he's worse than Curie?
Yeah, because Curie doesn't look to like kill innocent people. Okoye, like if you break any type of crime, first of all, Okoye thinks that humans inherently are criminals because they're dirty, they're dark, they have dark nature, and if you have dark nature, you've like he's on some like what is that the Minority Report. He's on some like Minority Report shit because he knows that you're capable of committing a crime. You've already committed the crime, so Okoye is gonna kill you because you're capable of committing a crime, and that's like his sense of justice. And he's like a psychopathic cop, and unfortunately, because he knows how to throw hands, he's gonna kill 99% of the people on the planet with his bare hands. So, could John Jones beat Okoye? Fuck no. Unfortunately, John Jones is getting cooked.
Yeah, John would.
He was talking about Tom Aspinall. He's ducking Okoye.
He'd get bit. Shout out to the donation. Where's my boy Kenshiro on the list? If he was here, I don't think we added Kenshiro. Where would you put Kenshiro, real quick?
Kenshiro would be in violent. Like as long as you don't mention, like if he's talking about Kenshiro Fist of the North Star, he would just be in violent. Because if you leave him alone, he won't blow your head up.
Someone said Okoye might murder you if you sing Happy Birthday in public too loud. That's real.
Yeah, that's right.
He would be like, did you violate a noise mandate? I will enact justice.
Disturbing the peace? Yeah, you're done.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's a wild boy. We gave him bottom of S tier. Shout out to him. Hey, this is interesting. I'll let you lead off the next one. Because this is the first character from Baki you suggested.
Pickle?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pickle. Pickle I would put in... Pickle I would honestly put in... Damn, it's tough. He might be the first C tier. He honestly might be the first C tier because... He doesn't necessarily need you to like. It depends what era of Pickle. If you're talking about Primal Pickle, you could put him in B tier, or like or even A tier, because Primal Pickle was like low key just looking for someone to eat. Like he was literally trying to eat full grown humans, while they were awake and alive, which is crazy. But like I feel like he's in C tier because he's capable of committing violence anywhere, but it doesn't take much to antagonize him and irritate him. So like if you're but another thing too is like you have to kind of be about it. So I don't know, like it's either C tier or I don't know. You could put him in violent low key because you
think,
can't like not everybody can antagonize him. Like you have to kind of be like a dog to even like punch him and
yeah, you
for
have
him
to
to
be
notice.
godly to get his attention. Real quick, GB, we just got a slew of donations, so I kind of want to address them / shout them out. First of all, shout out to Malcolm, just donated $10 for the love of the game. That's his 5th super chat, so I went ahead and made him a moderator. Thank you for all the support over time on live streams. Big Ruckus, shout out for the donation, said Wild from Berserk. I might have mispronounced it. I always do that shit. But what do you think, GB? Worst character in
I don't know.
Berserk? If it's
I don't
Berserk,
know.
worst character, it's probably S tier. I think that's safe.
Yeah, if he's just asking who from Berserk, it's probably. I mean, nothing gets more violent than Griffith.
Yeah.
But yeah, that verse is more gross than it is violent, to be honest. I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to go too in depth on a video.
Yeah, we're
without
not gonna hyper analyze how gross Berserk is. So that's
Yeah.
a demonetization race. So yeah, that'd be S tier though. Thank you
Speedrunning.
Where would you place Freeze on this list? Shout out to Slabo for the $5 donation. GB actually said let's leave Dragon Ball off, and if they want to see it, they can like run up the donations and all that, which I kind of agree with. Me personally, Frieza, I put in S tier. Dude literally lives to start shit, blow shit up, fight people, prove he's superior to people, get the
He's
drop on
enslaving the
people.
whole universe bare minimum.
Yeah, he's crazy. Like he's a wild boy. And by the way, we're nearly halfway to the donation mark for let's see how much time we got. 27 minutes left. 6 more donations of any amount to the super chat, and you guys get that DC Power tier list. We're getting close. So Jack, I'm gonna say is a little above Pickle. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bloodline. The bloodline's crazy. Jack's just a more hyper intentional Pickle. Pickle, I think it's fun in terms of lore, being an ancestor. But Jack, obviously, it's a lot more intentional. Is Jack as extreme as his father Yujiro, though?
I mean, Yujiro, like, I put Yujiro in C because he's not like gonna really lash out like the guys in B. Like the guys in B, once you get them going, they're gonna lash out. But Yujiro, it is like you could try to help him and he'll smack the skin off your face. So like, like he's a little bit more violent than the ones below him because that could happen anywhere. And
His
he
literal
like
aura is violent. Like people will like fucking nearly kill themselves to get away from him sometimes.
Like he got into a hand clapping competition with his son. Yeah, like he got into a hand clapping competition with his son and like blew the windows out on a skyscraper or something like that. So it's like you could kill a normal person with that. So like anything, anywhere, anytime, Yujiro's liable to do something. So
I'll say what limits him from ascending is his. It's been made very clear narratively in series. His extent of damage and violence he inflicts could be a lot greater. He just hasn't done it, and that's according to like people who prepare for that. So I would say that's what limits him from ascending.
Yeah.
The Smoke Demon, Hyoken. So this is a tricky one. This is one of those things where it's like you kind of have to be him. Similar to who did we talk about before that had that?
Pickle.
Pickle, yeah. Hoken's like that, but when he does show up, the difference between him and Pickle is everything dies. Like Hoken will show up if you're that guy, but 1,000 of your men are in front of him, he's gonna just behead them because they're in the way.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
would
like
say that makes him C tier at least.
yeah, for sure.
The
Who the hell
caveat
is
holds
that?
him back, but he still goes crazy. Hold on, I can tell you in one moment. Shout out to everyone watching. We got like 25 minutes to hit the goal. Hold on. Let's see. Is that it's after Hogan? That's not Fractured Sun? Oh, I think that is Fractured Sun. Fractured Sun Hulk.
Yeah, you can put him in like C tier, I guess. What weird cover art.
That's
Or
in Kaido. That's in Kaido. I think that's why Fractured Sun popped up like that. He's the first Fractured Sun. But he literally went around inflicting violence until he could find something that could inflict enough violence upon him to end him. So definitely has a case. Should be C tier at least. Probably not as bad as Punisher, but C tier for sure. Akuma! I'll let you take this one away.
Akuma kind of just chills. I mean, he's really like, if you start a fight with Akuma, you're gonna die. Unless you can beat him, you're gonna die. So,
you're for sure dead if you can't beat his ass. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and he's been doing this for like 100+ years or some crap like that. So like, it's like 60 or 100 years. I forget how old Akuma is, but I know that like he's on a mountaintop in Street Fighter lore. He's like on a mountaintop, and you have to climb the mountain, and most people don't even survive the climb. But he killed like dozens of like hundreds of fighters or something like that who climbed to the top. He like killed them all when they tried to challenge him. So yeah, like Akuma, he's definitely in the bottom tier because like he's not gonna go out of his way to like start killing people randomly. He's also protected Earth a few times in lore, so yeah, I'd say like he's just in the violent tier.
Interesting. I can see that. I can see this being controversial to people that he's in the violence tier, but I mean, he does kind of wait for the big dog to run his fade and just runs that very specific fade.
Yeah. And next we got Havoc. Havoc's an easy S tier. I mean, he literally got the resources of a Hellraiser, and he literally brought chaos, the concept itself, to all the realms. Like he unleashed war on Liu Kang's perfect creation. When Liu Kang finally reset all the timelines and created like the multiverse again, did all that mumbo jumbo, he wasn't exactly supervising all the timelines, so he like let some characters roam free, and Havoc was one of the characters that kind of like slipped under his radar, and now he's for it dearly because Havoc has literally unleashed havoc on all the timelines at once. He's like waged timeline war, so he literally walked out like like when the timeline war breaks out and they're walking down the temple, you literally see Havoc like walking like down the steps. He sees Jax without his arms because Jax got his arms ripped off during the battle. He sees Jax without his arms, and Jax can't get up because he just doesn't have arms. And Havoc is like talking about something, and mid conversation just drops his like spear or whatever, his mace or something on Jax's head and crushes it, and doesn't even think about it or notice what he did, or he doesn't like take a moment to enjoy it. It's just like a casual thing for him, like second nature. So he's definitely easily super easy S tier.
Yeah, I'm kind of, and GB's a big Mortal Kombat guy, so I'm kind of letting him speak on MK. So I guess I'll let you kind of finish out the MK.
Shao Kahn, He's another S tier. We've already
Yeah, I
seen.
mean, he literally
Yeah.
hosts the fucking tournament.
Yeah, he's been champion of Mortal Kombat for years and years and years. He also like when if you go by like the timeline endings that he has, he literally reshaped the entire multiverse in his image and just kept killing. He even though he became king of the multiverse, he still kept going on with the Mortal Kombat tournaments because he likes killing people. Like he likes beating people up. He likes hurting them. He likes throwing out his fatalities. So, Scorpion. Literally, if anybody who's played Mortal Kombat 1, which there's probably only one person in the chat who has because that game sucks, Scorpion burned an entire timeline with his rage alone. So we know Scorpion's violent. So that's another S tier character. Mortal Kombat would have a lot of really violent characters, obviously, because it's Mortal Kombat. So
be interesting to do like a Mortal Kombat violence tier list.
yeah.
Muteba's interesting. I think Muteba's in the violent tier. Muteba's more so to hurt you if he takes a contract. I think he's worse than Reacher and Wick because like he'll hurt you if you're in the way, and he'll hurt you in like let's say a combat tournament. He doesn't really have morals. He just sticks to he loves violence. That's literally how he gets paid. He's one of the best in the world in a world that's strictly violence. So
Yeah.
I don't think he's as bad as like Kyurei and Okoye, but he's pretty damn violent.
True.
Next up, Doomsday. I mean, Doomsday's literally built for that shit. I'm gonna put him as the go to S tier. That's literally biologically all he's inclined to do.
Yeah, that's all he knows.
Yeah, like
I mean, he literally he saved a bird or something, and then he like gave the bird to a kid and then killed the kid. Like I don't know.
Yeah, he wanted to see what it felt like to be a hero, and he felt nothing, so he killed the kid.
Yeah.
It's a violent motherfucker, man. That's a wild boy. So I'm gonna let you speak on Vandal Savage first, but then I'm also gonna weigh in because when we talked about him, we kind of had different perspectives. So
yeah, so Vandal Savage, obviously, he's kind of like he's one of those characters in comics who kind of like Apocalypse has been many people throughout history, but in the modern day, he doesn't really while out too much. So I wouldn't say like it's in his nature to be violent. He has been violent, but I think it's mainly because the times were violent, not because he's inherently violent. But like he's capable of violence, and but like to a brutal extent, like A and S, no. But anywhere between BC and violent, yeah, he probably fits somewhere there.
I think Vandal is probably the head of C. I mean, he literally lives for a generational beef that spans centuries, just inflicting violence and death upon Hawkman and Hawkgirl. He doesn't give a fuck. I think he's got too much bodies to his name, too chaotic, and his resume for me to ignore. I gotta give him credit. I think he's here at C tier. Godzilla. Godzilla to me? Godzilla's, in terms of violence, probably the head of C tier. Like, if you leave him alone, you're good, but when he wakes up, for sure, violence is on the menu. Like, that's inevitable. And a lot of shit just gets killed in the wake of... He actually, you know what? He's probably the head of B tier. Just by proxy of how much things dies when he gets active.
Yeah.
All right, I want to leave this next one off. I just want to leave it off because I love this character. I'm gonna put Trevor right below Chucky. Trevor from GTA 5 was so violent and so unhinged in a verse that's literally named after a violent crime. The main characters were nervous around Trevor because of how violent and chaotic he was. His character off rip first cutscenes killing another character that was a main story in a DLC or main character. Like, he's fucking insane. You give him the capability, everything burns while he's high as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, Trevor's pretty chaotic. I don't know where you'd put him, but yeah, you could put him
I put him above Jigsaw, below Chucky.
Oh my god, you're wildin'.
Where would you put him?
I don't think he's violent like he's killing innocent people, but
I mean, he objectively does.
Yeah, but it's not like his intention. He's just crazy. It's not like everybody in S tier is trying to deliberately kill those people at bare minimum. He's kind of just like a crackhead.
Crackheads can be violent. What do you? All right. What are you thinking?
I put him like below Nemesis or above Nemesis, maybe, depending on how high he is.
Insane. All right, lead off with Kratos.
I mean, I guess it's Kratos. He killed the Pantheon, and he killed 2 Pantheons technically. So I mean, and then he sold his soul in the middle of war. So and he got his family killed because of it. So I mean, it's just there's not much you could say about it. It's just Kratos. I guess he goes to S tier. Big old Kratos.
Yeah, I mean, Kratos obviously calmed down, which probably hurts his resume. That's what keeps him from not being above a Sabertooth, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think of Ashura?
I don't know, to be honest.
I'll lead that one. Ashura, it first started off as his job. He was a general. And then it's obviously it leads into cosmic revenge. I'm gonna put him above Kratos. He's similar to Kratos in that both were provoked into the violent natures, whereas Sabertooth is getting active regardless.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, hold on. Based. I'm moving Kratos and Ashura down to the heads of A tier. Because they do kind of got to be provoked to be that way.
Okay. I think Doom Guy's probably the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah, but Doomsday Doomsguy could have. The difference between him and Kratos is when Kratos has a chance to log out the game, he does. Doomslayer's not logging out, bro. Doomslayer's staying there and fucking them up, dude. Because fuck peace. He reinvented violence in his verse, man. I gotta give him his flowers. He's a Koya with more capabilities.
I don't know if Kratos leaves the game or if the game's just over. That's it. Usually when Kratos, when somebody starts something with Kratos, he just finishes it. So there's nothing left to do.
Yeah, but he did want to retire from violence, though. Didn't want his kid near it. None of that. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, but it's what beefed with Doomsguy. I think in Doomsguy's situation, Kratos would have did the same thing. If Hell was messing with Kratos, I think Kratos would have did the same thing. So I don't know.
I think I just think Doomslayer is more committed to the violence game. I kind of understand. All right. Yeah, maybe I'll put them at the top of A. Okay, yeah, they're the same tier. Who's more likely to fuck up a random person or an innocent person? Doomslayer or Akoya?
Akoya, for sure.
Okay. So I think that difference in that confidence is what separates the tiers.
Yeah, because Doom guy's encountered normal people before, and he's been fine in like story and shit.
Yeah. So all right, I agree. Yeah. So guys, this is our tier list. This is our violent character tier list. Let us know what if we did this again. What characters would you want to see? Let us know what you think of our list. If you want to do your own version of this tier list, join my Discord. I posted a link to it. So you can make your own, post it in the server, talk about it, all that. Thank you to all those that donated. We did not hit the goal. However, GB and I do eventually plan on doing that tier list anyway. So we're men of the people. So it probably won't matter in the grand scheme. Tomorrow, I am dropping my Immortal Thor update video. He just came back from death. And then Friday, I am dropping a complete breakdown and scaling of DC's health. So we got some real sick content coming up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Had a lot of fun. Thank you for popping out, GB. And yeah, we'll see y'all later. Peace. All right, stream.